Meeting of the Metropolitan School District of Posey, and will open the meeting by joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to let Jake do his presentation.
Okay.
You're up, Jake.
Okay. This is basically just a presentation of the past 2 years of the kind of savings and improvements that we've done in our technology. Just quickly, we'll go over some cost savings that we've done. These are reoccurring fees that we used to be paying for compared to what we kind of do now. So whenever I first got hired, we had already planned on going to E&A for a managed wireless project. They kind of kept changing the dates on us, and then they kept changing prices on us. And so we finally just said, hey, you know what? Let's just scrap this because we're having problems with the managed firewall they had just put in anyway. So we went ahead and just canceled that. But what we were planning on paying for that was about $26,940 a year for them to manage that service. You can kind of see the breakdown of the different schools here. We're doing it currently in Meraki in-house for about $5,940 a year. So you can see it's about a $21,000 yearly savings that we're saving by doing that in-house. And we'll cover the projects here in a little bit. E&A firewall was one of the things we were doing that was managed. Like I said, that was implemented the week before I came on board, and they forgot to unplug our old firewall. And when they did that, those rules and everything started just not jiving together. And it was literally about 1 to 2 weeks of just chaos. Network kept going down, everything else. So we realized, hey, they didn't unplug the other one. So we kept them for about 2 to 3 months. And then it was kind of a pain to have to call them every time we wanted something allowed through the firewall. So we just said, hey, let's just go ahead. We're going to go with the Meraki anyway, and we'll get their firewall and we'll manage it through Meraki. So we paid about $6,400 a year for them to manage it. We do it for about $3,000 a year now. So that's about another $3,000 savings. Servers, we did upgrade our server infrastructure this summer. We used to have VMware. With VMware, it was kind of a piecemeal system that we had to have all these services with. So we had HP Care, which is basically, they were older servers. So that was basically the warranty on those that said, if anything ever went wrong with them, they'd replace them. So you can see it was $47, so it wasn't that expensive because they were older servers. Veeam was our backup. Basically, it allows us to do backups of those servers. Barracuda was actually an archiving server that we had put in place, and Desktop Authority was a service that allowed us to push out software and things to desktops and things like that. This summer, we chose to go with Scale. Scale does all this wrapped in one. So we now have everything centralized, all servers at the high school, and we do backups, and we push our backups to the central office, and we got one server here. So you can see by just pushing everything into Scale, which is actually top of the state-of-the-art, top of the line servers, we're saving $8,669.82 a year for that. So this was converting from Microsoft to G Suite to prepare for the one-to-one. We used to pay about $10,000 in Microsoft license fees. We can now reduce that to about $5,000. And Lightspeed was a software that we had to have with Microsoft and Exchange for email filtering and things like that. We no longer need that, so we could reduce that cost. So we're saving about $10,000 for that yearly. Matrix support, we've been saving on that. It looks like we used to purchase about $3,000 increments in Matrix time block support, and we did that about every 3 to 5 to 6 months. We no longer use those. I think we called Matrix a couple times. One time when I was on vacation, I think Jody had an issue with the servers. I was on cruise. She had to call Matrix, and I think it was about $500 that cost us. So we saved about $12,000 in matrix as well. So annually over the past 2 years, we've saved about $55,254 in savings in reoccurring annual fees. Additional savings, things we've done, new lines, these boards up here, we've been installing those in-house. It was about $1,600 to professionally mount them. Brian Wilson has helped out a lot with that. So wanted to give him credit for that. Voice over IP, we planned, configured, implemented that with no professional services. That required us to do VLAN changes, QoS buckets, E911 configuration, make sure emergency responders went to the right addresses and things like that. So that's all we did all that in-house. Security cameras, we increased our security cameras with state-of-the-art cameras. Principals seem to like them a lot, and we've even added a lot more security cameras for a cheaper cost of what we were doing. Paper cut, we spent about $10,000 every 6 months we used to on paper. Ever since we bought paper cut and went 1-to-1, we have not purchased paper since the summer of 2018. So we've saved quite a bit of money on that as well. Daily tasks to manage buildings, techs and things like that. You know, firewall, filtering, group policies, DHCP. These are all things that other districts have KSA, Matrix vendors come in to do. And usually they'll have 1 to 2 engineers for about $150 per hour to do that. So we've saved approximately about $100,000 a year by doing that. So completed projects. You can see this is what the E&A total was going to be, $3,992 with Matrix. We saved about $142,974 by going with Matrix instead of that E&A route, because that was the total cost that was going to cost to put in the E&A managed network. When I first started, Dr. Camp, Dr. Von Mueller kind of expressed they were wanting to move to 1-to-1. So we did that K through 12 with little to no issues. And I think that it's been a huge success of that project as well. Part of that was switching Exchange over to G Suite, conversion of the servers, which you talked about. I'll show you the network racks here in a little bit, but those network rooms were a disaster. It was a waterfall of cables, multiple switches plugged into all the other multiple switches, which caused several network loops, things like that. So that's where you're getting a lot of network slowness and things like that. We cleaned that up. We're still in the process of cleaning that a lot of up, but it's almost done. Security cameras, we talked about that. The phones, we talked about that. Refresh active boards, that's in progress. We talked about that. We increased, when I first started, we had about less than 500 devices on the network. Now our devices, we have over 2,500 devices. And I'll show you a screenshot here. At any time, sometimes we have about 6,000 devices on our network. So that kind of shows you how we went from 22 APs in the high school, junior high, and 8 APs in each elementary school to 34, I think, in each elementary school, and about 64 APs in the high school, junior high. So that kind of shows how much our network has grown. That is the network closets. This is what it used to be. This is kind of what it looks like now. You can kind of see different colors. This is actually colors. I think this was just kind of the cheap wires. You know, we buy the yellow every once in a while, but now there's kind of a rhyme or reason to that color code. So we've got red cables, that's for access points, yellow cables, which is for security cameras, blue cables, which is for PCs. That way you can walk into this data closet and say, okay, I'm looking for a security camera. It's one of these yellow cables. It's a little bit easier to troubleshoot than to troubleshoot that. That was actually the main server room of the high school. This is just an IDF, so it's kind of one of those branched off server rooms. You can kind of see that waterfall cabling. We cleaned all that up, taking out all those loops. That was network loops that were created by unplugging multiple switches. And that's South Terrace. You can kind of see that usually doesn't work very well when you have those 2 racks. So I've taken 1 rack out. Cabling still not very well, so that's still in progress. But when you're trying to remove or troubleshoot one of these devices, and you have 2 racks like that and you can't squeeze in, that's kind of a pain right there and not a best practice. This is kind of a glance at our network. So these are all screenshots I took today from GoGuardian. You can kind of see it gives us an example of how many students are on, how many classrooms are currently going on right now. So by the time, I think I took this around lunchtime, so it was about 11. So our number, I've seen it up to about 782 or so at one time students online. But right there, it was about 302, and it's constantly changing. You can kind of see a summary of the last 7 days of online users, an average, flag sites, block sites, Google Docs. I'm telling you, some of these students are very creative in how they want to try to get around these blocks. So it's a constant battle trying to do that. You can see we got smart alerts, so we can see if somehow somebody got around some of our security. You can see it will alert us. It'll say it was either explicit, self-harm, things like that. So we can get self-harm if a student were to Google something about suicide or something like that. We get emails and we can get a guidance counselor to call them immediately. So we really enjoy having that way to help them if we need it. And you got to see our, kind of what we use. So these are kind of what students have been using. I'm trying to get YouTube down there. That's still the top at 2, but it's not the top hit anymore. Students love their YouTube, but you can see that they're using it for other educational purposes only, not just entertainment. So, and this is kind of a glance at our network. This is Meraki. You can see everything's green except for this. I think I've got a little bit of a, I don't know if it's an IP conflict. I need to look at that. But you can kind of see in the past, what was it? I think in the past week, we've used over 27.5 terabytes of data going through our network, which is huge, a lot of data. You'll see how many clients we got in each network at the time I took this. So again, this was probably at 11. We had 1,800 clients just on our high school network. And then you can see the devices that are ours. So you got 67 devices that we manage, and going on down. It looks like we've got about 33 at North Elementary, 30 access points at South Terrace. And we got all the security cameras and everything else. So you can kind of see how we've grown. Like I said, from whenever I first got hired, we supported very little devices. All of our access points were in hallways, which aren't very good. You want the access points in the classrooms with the students, because students aren't in hallways. You don't want them in the hallways. So we increased our access points, put them in ideal locations, rearranged our server infrastructure. We used to have all of our servers piled into one building underneath a air conditioner that literally leaked, and you could see the ceiling tile kind of bubbled from all the water. And not only do we have our servers, but we had our backup servers in that too. So if that thing ever decided to just kaput and just waterfall down, not only would it destroy our servers, it would have destroyed our backup servers as well. So that data would have been lost completely. So like I said, we basically have everything at the high school now, pushing out to the central office for backups. So when I first got hired, we were probably one of the last ranking schools in Indiana for technology. Now we get some neighboring schools call us and say, hey, we're thinking about going Chromebooks. What do you think about them? We're Apples now, but they just don't want to do what we're going to do. I think last number I read, it was about 88% of the schools are now Google schools, G Suite schools, and that's the way schools are wanting to go now. So I think we're kind of ahead of the curve, and we just keep pushing forward. So anybody got any questions? Yes.
All right, so great presentation.
Thank you.
So when you talk about the monthly costs and things that we had before, and then the savings that we have now, so what do you attribute? I mean, how did we go about getting that savings? Is that equipment? Is it better use of assets? Is it?
I think it's just kind of, I'm the type of person, I don't know, I don't know what it was like before I came, but if you choose to do it in-house, you're going to save money. If you choose to outsource, you're going to spend the money. I don't like to outsource because then I got to rely on somebody else to do the work. If I'm in charge of a network, I want to know everything about that network, and I want to be able to go in and configure that network. As to where if I got to open a ticket and say, hey, we're having something weird, I don't know how many sites ENA supports. So I think it's better to have it on site. So that's why I chose to have kind of everything under us instead of managed. So when you pay for that managed service, you're actually paying for them to, run those licenses for you and do day-to-day maintenance, things like that. So now we do the day-to-day maintenance instead of having other people do it for us. So.
You held up 2 fingers. You got another question?
No. I gotta be careful. I don't want to ask something that he's gonna nail me on. I'm as dangerous as I can turn a computer on.
Yeah. All right.
Is there ever a possibility for us to include students in like a curriculum type of addition to our IT now that, as far as like repairing?
We're doing that now.
Are we?
Yeah, we got about 3 students at the high school. I think Janelle has them first 3 periods or something. Is that right? So yeah, I think I know some of their names, and we're actually talking about, as we get time on our hands to try to, I know teachers, they want some training on these things, trying to get the students, to, use those Sling Studios where we can get the students to make a training video for how to explain everything, or how to use a new IP phone that we got, or, how to use, Canvas or anything like that. So that's coming down the road. But we do have some students helping to fix the computers, and they absolutely love it. So
that's great.
And one other thing that Jake's pretty savvy at negotiating purchasing contracts too, and so just planning on that end as well.
yeah, you don't always have to take the first deal. So
Well,
anything else?
Now I need training on my phone in there because I'm not working. He showed me one day, but usually it takes me 2 or 3 times.
And I showed him that too.
if you could get Blue Cross and Blue Shield to quit calling me, I'd pay for that too.
All right.
Well, Jake, thank you very much. We
Yes.
appreciate
Yes.
what you've done.
No problem.
And I mean, I don't think we can say it enough. The fact that we went 1-to-1 K through 12 with
Yeah.
hardly any. I mean, there really weren't any issues. Nobody was really even notified that there was stoppage. So
Yeah, I've heard
That's
horror
remarkable.
stories about certain schools doing just the middle school, or that's one thing I saw at Heck 2 years ago. We're like, yeah, we're thinking about going K through 12. I was like, oh, don't ever do that. It'll be a disaster. And I get we're a smaller school district, but still, I mean, going with 1,400 students all at the same time. I mean, that's
in a part of the county that's not real broadband savvy. So
right.
that was another help. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. It's time to go over the tentative collective bargaining agreement with the Teachers Association. We have a couple people here that can help me do this. Don't expect me to do all this by myself, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. I do have a cheat sheet that I created for the board. We'll go through these things. We have a tentative agreement with the Teachers Association, and as a new part of the law, before you can start bargaining, you have to have a hearing, and after you come up to a tentative agreement, then you have to give the public a chance to speak. We did come to an agreement, and the association has passed the contract that was explained to them, and I'm going to try to explain it to the public and the board this time. $240,350 of money in the funding formula will go into the new compensation model. $20,000 by the association and $15,000 by the corporation will be added to insurance for a total of about $35,000. That would equate to around $400 for a family plan, $220 for a single plan. Depending on the numbers at open enrollment, that will affect that slightly, but that's what we're shooting for. We'll continue the $750 contribution to the high deductible plans and the health savings account. $23,000 will go to a group of teachers for a second run through from $40,000 to $60,000 after the first run. $28,000 will go to a targeted group of any teacher at that point under 40 after the first run. We're going to move the starting pay after that to any teacher who is not making $35,500. The maximum salary will be set at $68,000. The way we're adjusting the compensation model is 2 points for highly effective and 2 points for effective. They're in the same category now. 1 point for a master's degree and 1 point for years of service. We took out the years of service from 0 to 23 because we set the maximum pay at $68,000. We added 6 ECA positions. We made some changes to the contract language to comply with IRB. And there was nothing really significant there, just things that IRB said we needed to be in compliant. This isn't in bargaining, but the tag stipend will be given to the teachers when released by the state. The corporation will also provide $50,000 for stipends for the teachers, along with the tag stipend. That will be given the latter part of the second semester, hopefully. We set a date on that for May, but we have a little leeway there in that. And then a $25,000 buyout for certified employees. Those employees must be 50 years old and have at least 15 years of experience. And then the final thing is we allow retirees to donate up to 10 days to the sick bank for a maximum of 500 days. The sick bank generally runs around 300 days. This is days above the days that the teachers were originally bought out at, if they're in that group. All of those numbers include TRF and FICA. The same type scenario was given for the second year. 75% of the new money will be ran through the contract, 67% will be the first run, and 8% will be the target group. There'll be approximately $28,000 for anybody under 40,000. We'll continue to the HSA savings plan of $1,500, and move the starting salary to $37,000, set the maximum pay at $69,000, and they'll continue to be a $50,000 stipend provided by the corporation, along with the tag stipend, and then also a $25,000 eligible retirement buyout for certified employees. And again, all of those numbers will include TRF and FICA. And so that is like a basic rundown of the contract. We posted the contract online. Can't remember the exact date. Last week.
Whenever they said go.
Tuesday or
It was,
Wednesday.
it was Monday.
Monday
It was
last week.
Monday of last week,
Okay.
because we did it right at the end of the day.
So that is the basic bargaining agreement. I think I hit everything. I don't think I left anything
5
out.
days before the vote. I think that's right.
We'll open it up to you guys, and you can, if, I don't think I left anything out, but if I did,
Sounds simple, right? This is what happens when the state of Indiana decides they want to turn the salary schedule on its head. This used to be simple. There was a salary schedule. You came, you stayed, you worked your way up. Now, this is what it takes to get everybody a little bit of money. Okay. I've got a statement. So this isn't going to have a whole lot of numbers in it, but it goes, honorable members of the school board, I'll spare you the details of the teachers who have departed because of the low pay. Just last month, many teachers described their frustrations of the low pay in this district compared to surrounding school corporations. I didn't know if you felt beat up after that meeting, but I did. This year, we built a contract that rewards higher levels of education, years of experience, and higher evaluations. We've sought to eliminate or at least reduce the practice of hiring teachers from other districts and paying them more than teachers in North Posey schools with the same years of experience and education level. There's a carve out for hard to fill positions, and the administration and the association have to have discussion before that occurs. So if there's a physics position or an engineering position that is hard to fill, they can go outside this, but it has to be done with careful deliberation. And this is for the people who stayed loyal to North Posey and saw people moved in across the hall, being paid $5,000 more for the same years of experience, the same level of education. And if you don't think that's a problem, talk to people in South Gibson, because it's going to blow up on them. That's coming in the next year or two. We developed a plan to free up money for teachers by providing an incentive for some to retire. The salary savings from these retirements will be distributed to the remaining teachers. These savings are recurring. Okay, they're not one-time savings. They come at no additional expense to the corporation, and they could provide up to $300,000 per year. The proposed contract was overwhelmingly ratified by the members of the Teachers Association last Tuesday, I believe it was. We were told by the teachers who voiced their concerns last month to think outside the box, come up with solutions. And we believe we've done just that. This contract was a joint effort by the administration and the bargaining team, of which Jennifer is a part. She's a high school rep for the bargaining team. I asked her to come for moral support. We had significant, this was also the administration, the bargaining team, and significant assistance and guidance by the Indiana State Teachers Association. They help us with language. They know what IRB will support and what they will find non-compliant. And this board and administration has showed tremendous commitment in improving the physical facilities of North Posey. 5 years ago, we didn't have the gyms the new gyms at the elementary school. Just the changes in the junior high school this year alone have been mind-boggling. The safety upgrades, the new field that is a showplace. So we've done well with that. Now we're now asking you to show this same commitment, attracting and retraining and retaining the highest quality teachers for the students of this district. I'm not new to this. This is not my first rodeo. I firmly believe that one of the most effective ways to build and sustain the highest quality students is to give them the highest quality teachers. Teachers who are constantly worried about how they're going to make their insurance payments or buy their next used car aren't going to make very good teachers. Teachers who come and stay for 3 years and then leave to get a higher position someplace else, that interrupts the continuity we need to build good programs. Okay, and I believe this contract would do just this. So therefore, I humbly ask and urge the board to approve this contract. So thank you for your time. I didn't know if I'd be standing up in front of the crowd, so I have to write this out in advance.
And
Thus endeth my statement.
he made mention we had help. Mark Littenberg is the UNICEF director for the area, and I don't know how many schools that he helps bargain with. I know he's a very busy person, and he did help us a great deal making sure we would be compliant with IRB. And with that being said, every time you settle a contract, IRB changes their opinion, so there'll always be something. But it took his help to make sure we're compliant.
You can put IRB's language in a contract, and then IRB will ding it as non-compliant later. So it's an ever-changing thing with them.
So this is the first time I think we've been as public with the ins and outs of the contract, and for the general public that may be wanting more information or hear about what's going on. When we talk about these points, that's a little confusing mechanism to the contract. Could you just kind of explain that a little bit?
Sure.
And
The state made you come up with a compensation model, and you couldn't. You at the time original you couldn't give more than 33% of a raise based on years of experience and education. So the way that you made sure you did that, we came up with a compensation model that had half points in it and points in it for a total of 4 points. And a teacher during the evaluation process, which is the highly effective or effective piece, is where they could get points. In the old way, they could get they got 2 points for effective and a half a point for highly effective. The state this year changed that ruling, and you can give up to 50% now for years of service and education, trying to encourage people to stay in the same place and so they can earn years of service. That's why we took out the 0 to 23 and put a cap. So now when you say 2 points for effective or highly effective, our model has 4 total points in it. So they get 2 points for that. And if they have a master's degree, they get another point. And so that's how we did that. So they can get 3 or 4 points. And so that's why when I read through some scenarios that we have in the contract, some people will get 3 points, some people will get 4 points. So you get compensated for a master's degree.
So that 4 point, the year of service, everybody that has 120 days
Yes.
gets that 1 point.
Yes.
So there's 2 halves to this. There's the evaluation, which gives me a rating of somewhere between 0 and 4, right? And then the compensation is that we look at the size of the pool of money. And then we have to base this usually on the previous year. And we have, let's say we have 100 eligible teachers, and each teacher can earn up to 4 points, okay? So, you know, we take this pool of money and we divide it into basically 100 teachers, and then that's 4 points possible per teacher, and then it goes from there. So it's kind of backwards in the sense that we can't say everybody's going to get X% raise. That's why we don't say that anymore, is because he always starts from the front end, and it was always this pool of money. And the question is, how do you divide it up? So you divide it up by this 4-point pie. And if you earn these 4 points or these 4 shares, you're going to get the maximum raise possible. And that's because you're effective or highly effective, and that's from the evaluation side. And then you get an extra point if you hold a master's degree, and you get another point if you have above 0 years, and let's say there's no maximum years on it. Does that make any sense? So it's basically how it's divided up. Go ahead. Oh yes,
If
please.
you work 120 days, you
Just
get
to
that point.
clarify.
Yeah.
If you think back, I don't know how many years now it's been,
2012.
there used to be an automatic raise, right? You worked another year, you got whatever you got. So you got an increase on the salary, and then if you got a raise, you got bumped wherever you got bumped to. If you are not effective, you don't get anything.
That's by state law.
And that's by state law. So now the only way we can earn more is to be rated on, to earn our points, I guess is the best way to say that.
It's a performance-based system that also rewards years of experience and levels of education. So it kind of hits all of them. And I don't know how everybody else does it. We've looked at different models, but Dr. Camp and the bargaining team came up with this, 5-6 years ago? It's been some years back that we came up with it.
We looked at several different models and built our own hybrid.
We picked what worked best for us. So, does that help?
Yeah, at what point, if it's, because I know we have younger teachers, it seems like, and the master's program came in fairly new to the whole scheme. So if somebody is like a mid-year, attain their master's, let's say in December, does that kick in the following year?
Kicks in the following year. Yeah, I think there's.
In our calendar years.
Where's Amy at? Amy, you over there?
Yes.
Is it in July? There's something that we have to notify you. Is it by the beginning of the contract?
They have to notify me by July to be able to get that point in the next race period.
So if they get it in a summer school in August, they have to wait a whole
Yeah,
year.
they gotta wait another year.
And
But
that's really not any different than it was when we had a bachelor's a bachelor's plus and a master's. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
it was the
it
same
still
way.
didn't kick in until the following school year.
Yeah, because if you do it retroactively, it really messes with trying to estimate these pools and the size of shares and so forth. So it's and everybody, the teachers all know it. They know to have it by May or December or the following May, which is when most of them are done. Not all, but most.
There is no action tonight on this. We will vote on the contract in November in our regular board meeting, unless we had a special board meeting and could run it through before then. I mean, it's November. I didn't say December though. Okay. In November in our regular board meeting. And then if the contract is approved at that time, then we'll start issuing all the different changes with the contract. Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay.
Yeah, I'm sure we are.
Hang on a minute.
Or we could go
Yes.
home and have dinner.
Yeah. I gotta go move a washing machine. Yes, sir.
No, we appreciate your guys' time and service. And
This one was tough. This was, and it wasn't tough because it was adversarial as much as it's tough that it seems like the state has done everything they can to stop this. And for example, should I talk about the one-time bump?
You can.
Well, no.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Don't-
Anyway, well, there's stuff, there's things that we wanted to do that simply the state doesn't allow. It's just,
They're no longer bargainable.
no, and it made it quite difficult. So it was tough, but thank you. You know, he and I certainly couldn't do it by ourselves. It would have been, I would have said, how much money you got and give it to me. And he would have said no. And, you know, it worked out. So thanks for your support.
Ready?
Yep, just a place called away.
Thank you,
We'll
guys.
go away. Thanks again.
so when we get this finalized, is there a way you could get us a breakout of like how many certified teachers we have and kind of where they fall on the scale of like we've got
I'll do it.
20 between, you know, 0 to 5 years experience, 5 to, you know, and
We have that right now.
Jeff, the DOE website has a perfect,
I have to report it to
you click on each one of our 4 schools and it gives all that.
with the,
All
does it
that
list the
does-
master's degree and everything with it too, or no?
And it shows highly effective, it shows the percentages of teachers that are 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, all that.
Yeah, that'd be, I think, that'd be helpful for me to see it.
See, the old model looked like that. You know, it was just a year of service. And then what we use now are these, basically, let me find the right one. If you have, there you go. This is the starting salaries and it goes up and we have everybody. And these are the figures that we use to bargain, which Amy made, so.
I think it'd just be helpful for us conceptually to know how many we have, where they're at, experience for.
Right, like have a column where you're for, raise and after.
Not necessarily, I don't know what the
That,
rest of them.
I mean, that's
To me,
what he's wanting right there, I think. That's the number of people at 34,000, the number of people, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like the year's experience to see how many we have that, where the biggest chunk of our teachers are and. Okay.
And then that one's the same, that's the same thing, got separated a little differently. It doesn't have the name on there, but it's, you know, we can get you that.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
And this cheat sheet that I passed out to you, I have in the board packet and updates under proposed raises. And I'm working on everybody's right now. It's that document is a work in progress. So if you go to it, and you think you know everything on it, I may be changing things. So I'll tell you when it's complete and I'm ready for you to view it. I just went ahead and stuck it in there, so that, you know, you can see it as I was working on it.
And you know, it's to the point that we get really comfortable with this process, the state will change. Sorry. All right, so next item is patrons' concern. Mr. Kaler did sign up to speak under patrons' concern, but I think he was confused. So we will note that there is nobody listed for patrons' concern. The next item up is the minutes, claim docket, consent items, approval.
And the changes that I have given you, I'd like to make sure that they're reflected in that. I can read through them if you want me to again, or.
Yeah, go ahead, that's fine. Is what Stacy Vogel,
What did, Jerry Straw, not hiring his not recommending to hire his person. We're adding, Lisa Brennanstein's FMLA to November 4th, adding Stacy Vogel's FMLA from November the 8th to November the 22nd, adding Aaron Kester to the, professional leave, and Frankie Leslie to the, Murray State overnight, field trip in the consent items and in personnel, professionally.
okay. So we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes, claim docket, consent items as presented with those changes.
Make a motion, we accept the,
Second,
second it.
we have a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the consent items, which include the claim docket minutes and consent items as presented with those changes. Anybody have any comments or questions? I had one on Mr. Leslie's field trip. That's a there and back trip, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's not an overnight.
Okay, all right, yeah, Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad.
That's all right. No, I just want to clarify. Anybody else have anything? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'd like to pause here for a second. Dr. Streeter's here with, you approved this in the consent items. So Dr. Streeter, I'll have you go ahead and introduce our.
Oh, sure. I want to introduce you guys, Mark Kirkman. Mark is a teacher at St. Philip's School, and he, so that's already a done deal? So,
Yeah.
He's our new head boys baseball coach. So Mark wanted to be here and wanted to meet everybody, and so invited in. So, Mark, I don't know what you guys know about Mark, but Mark's been coaching in Modern Day for you want to tell a little bit about
So I
yourself?
was a Modern Day reserve coach the last 7 years, and then I was a varsity assistant at Rags High School for 3, and at GA at Oakland City a year before that. So yeah, very excited for the opportunity and ready to go. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Practice start tomorrow, right?
I wish. We're having a team meeting tomorrow. Yeah, this is the last week for fall contact, so the timing didn't work out too well, but we'll get going when we can.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. This time, I'd like to go ahead and have, well, that's my signature, so we're good there. Under new business, I'd like to ask the board to approve the 2020 budget and resolutions. There's a resolution to transfer up to $1,449,600 from the education fund to the operation fund. This year, in that resolution, that allows us to transfer that much. That covers the cost of the people who were moved into that fund. This year, we have moved $1,066,400. I do not plan to move any more the rest of the year unless I have to for basically the last 4 months of a year. So even though the state gives us the ability to move 15%, we're going to be well under that because we're cutting that movement off now. There is a resolution, a budget transfer resolution. That resolution allows us to move money in between different accounts to make sure that we always have enough money in each account in case we didn't appropriate enough to start out with. That happens in accounts if you have something come up that you had to pay for that you weren't preparing for. That's a common resolution that we've always approved. Adoption of the 2020 bus replacement plan resolution and the resolution to adopt the 2020 capital projects plan. And then a resolution for the 2020 budget hearing. That's needed. This basically, we've not made any changes since the budget hearing. And then the rainy day transfer resolution. I'm asking the board to approve the budget and all of the resolutions that go with the budget.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget forms and resolutions presented.
Second. So a motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the resolutions in the 2020 budget as presented by Dr. Camp. Anybody have any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to pause and have the board sign the budget forms and resolutions.
You have to mark your vote too, correct?
Yeah. I guess that's thunder out there.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
sound.
It's not my stomach.
Must be hungry. Thinking about that.
So do I send this one too, if I'm hearing?
Where it has a test.
That's a great session.
They had a gold claim, that's the first time too. It was a terrible claim.
All kinds of this is in there or someplace. So I hear a lot about these girls, how things are going.
That's not gonna know much of something, all the boys, but I was still a little questioning on that call, so I went to the source that was there that I trusted. He was like, that was something
Okay, thank you. The budget process, now we'll be waiting on the state to approve it and we'll hopefully, we'll get our budget order sometime in December, if all goes well. Next on the list, we have personnel. I'd like to ask the board to approve the professional leave request and reminding you of the addition since you actually saw it in your email of Aaron Westman.
So we entertain a motion to approve the professional leave request.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional leave.
Second.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the professional leave request as presented. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Reports.
That's you.
Anything other than this? So we do have what we call student good news reports that are new for us. We've asked the schools to compile these and add to these. as the year goes forward, so I'll hit some of the highlights that have been presented. Megan Brenton was a verbal commitment to the University of Evansville for softball for next year. The volleyball team won the Boonville Invitational Champions, so this is from the high school. Our varsity tennis beat Mater Dei 5-0 in the North Invitational. It's always a highlight with us. Let's see, we had the football field finalized with the new turf, the lights, and the bleachers. I think everybody is of the opinion that is a great enhancement. That's a really nice showcase now for us. And we did that through the Home Team Friday Spirit presentation on 14 News. We had 6 students were selected for interviews in the Lilly Scholarship process. How many years have we won that in a row?
It's been 5 or 6 in a row.
Not jinx us. Our sophomores attended the Tour of Opportunity again in Posey County, which is a great opportunity for them to get exposed to the industry within the county. The National Honor Society assisted in the United Way Day of Caring. Our volleyball won the Henryville Invitational. That was a road trip. Colchester and Gage Keene won sectional champions in the #1 doubles, and actually won their first round in regionals, correct?
We beat Boonville and lost to Castle in the second.
Boys tennis team won the PAC conference. It's a great job. Colchester, Max Renshaw, Zach Seibert received all PAC in tennis. Congratulations to them. And Haley Exline advanced to the state finals for women's golf, which was an awesome achievement for her. Our administration participated in the United Way Day of Caring. We already talked that our Sunrise School Spirit collected 21,000 pounds, and we outdid our county rival from Mount Vernon, who had tons of donations from industry. So that was a great accomplishment for our community. We had special thanks to South Terrace, and because they were a big contributor to that school's amount of pounds for the food collected. Dr. Streeter, Coach Shank, and Coach Ship participated in the dunk tank to raise money for North Elementary's PTO. Was it cold?
It was great. It was hot. It was really, it was.
Well, it was a hot day, right?
Yeah, it was a good day to be in the dunk tank.
Perfect.
Last year was the cold day.
So I commented on that and Shannon said, so she'd like a board member next year.
Not it. Not it. Student Good News Awards, Johnson Kester was selected as the DRA Good Citizen for the class of 2020. Cross country, Abby Reiteicher qualified for regionals, and she runs Saturday. Boys soccer team won sectionals at South Spencer. That was a second one in school history for the soccer team. Mallory Moats was named Academic All-State for girls golf. And from what I understand, there was tons of people that qualified to be nominated for that. Is that right? There was a large number of girls.
There were a large number nominated for the Academic All-State.
Yes. So that was a good achievement for her to get that nomination, or to actually get named for that. Heath Howington completed the Evansville Half Marathon. Congratulations to Coach. Posey County Community Foundation awarded a grant to purchase 2 AEDs for North Elementary. And we'd like to give a shout out to our competing schools, which I thought was a nice gesture. Tell City and Heritage Hills, when we played them for joining in our peak out for Jessica Shank. Zach Lowe received the Courier Press Athlete of the Week. And our Viking cheerleader teams participated at IU at a halftime event for a football game, and they attended IU Spirit Day. So lots to go on, and I think it's just a kudos to the quality of kids that we have and the accomplishments they have. So keep them coming.
The next regular board meeting will be November the 11th. Executive session will be 5:30. The regular meeting will be at 6:30, and that's all I have for this meeting.
Someone's still gonna be here. We're not moving it.
I don't know.
If it's ready, then I don't wanna go yet.
Yeah, let me just see. Let me see. And we can, but we just need to know and advertise it every time.
So that one is Veterans Day, right?
It is.
Which we go to school Veterans Day, but not everybody works on Veterans Day. I'm probably gonna be out of town. So I don't know if I'll be back in town. There may be a chance I'm back in town for that meeting, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's a
You were
3
saying
days.
you wanna move it or you
Well,
want
I'm-
to here?
I was
don't
just
wanna
thinking,
miss-
I mean, I was getting ready to say we ought to move it like we did this one, but we go to school, so everybody else is gonna be here. I don't necessarily want you to move the meeting
We
for
don't
me.
all have.
Yeah, I know.
I'm bank holidays.
It will be, it'd be difficult for me to move.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking out loud, and then I thought, as I was saying that we go to school on Veterans Day, so I'll check that. Anyway, okay, anything else?
It's good you let.
The fall school board on the 12th. Is that the 12th?
Of November?
Is that right?
That's the regional school board meeting that's up in, is that in Jasper?
Yes. Are we attending that?
We
We
can
talked
send an
about,
email out. You could say, yeah, if you want to do it.
That's a-
I don't
No,
get
I
the
sent
emails,
it.
so
I
someone sent it to me.
and asked if there was any interest.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
that's
It's
a-
like you're out of town, yeah.
That's,
If
is
someone
that
sends it
Wednesday
to me,
night?
I can send it
She's
out.
in it.
So that'd be the right after our board meeting, so we don't have to run that. I'm not committing just yet.
I know, I said I was a maybe.
Well, and I wanna see our basketball schedule, because it's not out yet for elementary. See how my calendar looks.
Do we have to register for that one?
Yeah, we'll send out a reminder and then I'll pull that up and we'll have time probably to register.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? All right, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. A motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Stock to adjourn, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, next time.